Alright guys, hey, what's going on? Welcome back. We're doing another video on the Los Angeles Chargers today and what to expect. So going into the season, this is going to change, but right now I have a 3.5, but I'm going to have to come back and explain that 3.5 is going to be later in the season, not in the beginning. I'm going to definitely explain what I mean by that, but I do have a over 46.5. Some of the key notes of last year, they were facing a lot of injuries. A lot of guys were hurt. I think if you go and look at it, they probably had 16 players that was out. Really hurt their depth chart and their starting a lineup as well. But going into it, I'm looking at the games that they played last year. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games that did not go over 43.5 points. Just to keep that in mind, only 5 games. So if you think they're going to play a game where they're going to go under the total, definitely get them over a 43.5. I'm probably going to put that down here somewhere eventually, but I do like an over 46.5. They're more than likely to go over in games by 46.5. I think there's 12 games where they did one. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, I was correct. Also 12 games. Plus, if you get them at that 3.5 points, again, that's another 12 games that they did go over the 3.5. These are the games they lost. So if you look, the Dallas Cowboys, the New England Patriots, and the Las Vegas Raiders. But another key note to take down is that in the beginning of the season, the Chargers, they were kind of still developing that chemistry. I think they got better as the season progressed. And as you can see, later in the season, they started putting up points. They put up a lot of points. So again, in the beginning of the season, they did face a couple injuries. I think they were trying to find themselves, but later in the season, they did become the team that we recognize today as a playoff potential team. The only thing that scares me about the Chargers is injuries. That's the only thing that scares me. If they can stay healthy, they are definitely contenders to go to the Super Bowl and win the whole thing because their team is that good. But let's look at some of the numbers here. So one of the reasons why in this Baltimore game, you're facing Baltimore. They're good in defensively. They're good with the running game. And, well, Baltimore was facing at their home turf. So facing Baltimore, they only scored 40 points. But the week before or the week after they play Baltimore, they have a bye week, week 7. So probably one of the notes why they only scored 40 points. Then after the bye week, here we go. 51 points for totals as far as both teams is concerned. Now, what should we look for going into it? And this is where I need to go ahead and look at the opponents that they're going to face this year. Now, when you look at the schedule, on all the light blue is the divisional opponents. All the orange right here, Indianapolis Colts and the Rams, are the teams that's going to give them the most problems. And you look here, right? The 49ers, Arizona Cardinals, and Miami Dolphins. Those are all winnable games, especially this Tennessee Titans team. Those are winnable games. As far as toughness and strength of schedule, in the beginning, the Chargers have a really good schedule. It's just once after that bye week, week 8, they face the Falcons week 9, and now things start getting a little tough. So remember I said a 3.5. I do like a 3.5. That's when we get to this week 10, when they face the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Arizona Cardinals, Raiders, Miami Dolphins, so on and so forth. You know what I mean. Because in the beginning, you're going to have divisional opponents. Now, with the divisional opponents, I'm going to do a little something different because last year they were 50-50. Like they won 3 games. They were pretty much win loss for each divisional opponent they faced. And if we actually look at that, they faced 3 early in the season: Raiders, Chiefs, and Broncos. And here, right? If you just want to cheat a little bit, if they win this game, I'm looking at them to lose this one. Vice versa. If they win or if they lose this game, I'm looking at them to lose or win this one. Excuse me. So same thing with the Chiefs, same thing with the Broncos. So whatever they do, if they win or lose, I'm looking at them to win or lose when they face them again. That's how I'm going to break that down to save us a little bit of guessing here. And due to the fact that last year they did the same thing, it's just the Denver Broncos improved tremendously, grabbing a quarterback. And again, the Denver Broncos were 7-10. And if you don't think the Denver Broncos are going to go 7-10 again with Russell Wilson or better, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But that's for another video. I'll probably do them next. But going back, they were pretty much lost one. Yeah, they were pretty much 50-50 when it came to divisional opponents. But let's go back to the opponents. So what is a good number for these teams here? And as we look, again, last year they were hurt. Let's keep that in note. But the teams that they did have a challenge with was, or didn't have a challenge with, was the New York Giants. Look at what they did to the Giants. They destroyed the Giants. And these opponents that they're facing, as far as my power rankings go, they're pretty much on the bottom. They're on the bottom of what I have as far as power rankings go. Here, they face Seattle. They face the Falcons. They face Texas. And they face the Jaguars. I mean, you can't get those are four gimme games for the Chargers, in my opinion. All right, this is all speculation at this point. Again, we still have to keep track of the injuries. And the Browns aren't who they are supposed to be at this point. Without Deshaun Watson, the Browns is just a defensive and run game. The Browns going to have a bunch of unders, just so you know. So what is a good number? I mean, that's easy. I mean, I would be conservative. I'll definitely do probably a -2.5. I mean, against the Jags, it depends because the Jags has tremendous potential. The Houston Texans, again, you're going to have Lovie Smith on the other side. He's going to be over there with the conservative with the Tampa 2. You're going to have, they're not going to put up that many points against Texas. I'm sure they're going to waste a lot of clock. The Cleveland Browns, a lot of running, a lot of defense. Again, they're going to waste a lot of clock. You're facing, this team might go over, but I'm expecting maybe an under with this team. Seattle Seahawks, definitely an under. The Atlanta Falcons, I'm definitely expecting that game to go under. And these games, I'm definitely expecting them to go over, except for when you get to this Tennessee Titan team, because who they going to throw the ball to? I'm expecting that game to go under, but all of these are overs from this point on. Except for the Tennessee Titans and the divisional opponents. I do like the overs with the divisional opponents as well. A good number, you could get an easy 6, maybe even a 5.5. I'm gonna do a 5.5 when it comes to these teams, because the Cincinnati Bengals, the Los Angeles Chargers, they definitely can win these games by 5.5. These Cleveland Browns, this game may be a little tricky because you have a divisional opponent after, because they have to travel there, and then when they come back home they have to face the Denver Broncos. So this is probably a look ahead game, and this game right here may be a loss. So you might want to bet on the Browns. That might be an upset week. Then after that, you have the Seattle Seahawks before a bye. I'm looking at the same pattern to continue as far as last year. That's probably going to be under, I'm going to say 43, 44.5. And then after the bye, it's going to be over. So going back to it, under 43, 44.5 bye. Coming back to it, that's going to be towards the over. And then we get into that 3.5. So this portion right here, I do like a 5.5, -5.5 to be clear. Let me write it down, 5.5. And this portion at the week 10 mark, now again, with injuries, with how a team is performing, I'm sure the Chargers is going to come off to a hot start, and it's going to start, you know, getting a little bumpy once you hit week 10. I do like a 3.5, just so we're clear. A plus 3.5. Now, I'm sure once they come off of this schedule here, the Chargers will be over this 3.5 number. So it'd be a good time to maybe even jump on San Francisco at that time, leaning more towards the points for San Fran, maybe teasing that up, teasing the Chargers down, trying to get that nice middle if that's what you're into. But that's my take on the Chargers. It's not going to take me that long to explain this video. I mean, everything's pretty much self-explanatory. Same coach, same team. I think they can definitely improve if they stay healthy. If not, I think they're going to do mostly some of the same stuff that they did last year as far as the overs and unders. And most of these games they faced were up-and-coming teams. Like, for instance, you had Philadelphia. Pittsburgh's always going to be tough. The Cleveland Browns, without Baker, they're definitely going to probably score more points on them. You have Washington Redskins. Again, I think, even though with Carson Wentz on the team, I do think that they have the advantage. Wait a minute, do they even face? Hold on, excuse me. You know what? Excuse me. I was actually saying how these teams were kind of mediocre. This was actually a bad team last year. So let's going back. This is actually what really matters. So the Jacksonville Jags, Houston Texans, and Cleveland Browns, those should be wins. Again, whatever they're going to do here with their divisional opponents, they're probably going to do the opposite later in the season. But that's all I have for you today. Those are the points, those are the totals, and here is the power rankings. Just so you know, just to keep up to date of what's been happening. Patrick, the wide receiver for the Bronx, is out. Hollywood Brown and D-Hop is going to be out. Brown, he's facing some charges for some reason. I don't know. I didn't really look at the story, but he's definitely going to be out for the start of the season. So it's going to be a rocky start for the Arizona Cardinals. Jefferson, the wide receiver, he's out. The center for the Buccaneers, we're going to have to keep our eye on that. That's an important position. He may be out for the season. They don't know yet. But if he tweaks that knee in the middle of the season, definitely look at fading the Bucks. We have two defensive players for the Bills. They're out. Also, 6 players for Baltimore on the unable to perform list. Ross for Kansas City, the rookie, he's out. And San Francisco's been taking some hits as far as their defensive line goes. So if you can't get any pressure on the quarterback, that defensive line is going to be average, and that defense is going to be average. So look for maybe some higher totals looking towards these San Francisco games. Also, the need for the left tackle. Hopefully, I talked about that last week, and the other rookie wide receiver for Texas is out. I know I talked about that, but I'm gonna keep track of this so we can move forward. I'm gonna finish filling this out. But like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, bet wisely, guys. Later.